everybody. It is Cinnamon Cooney, your Art Sherpa, and today we are doing the Patron Live. We're going to be doing an adorable little witch sitting on a pumpkin in front of one of those glorious fantasy sunsets. I'm really excited about this because this is an all patron level painting, which means everybody gets to participate in it. And I try to do something every month that you guys would be excited to do. We did this in watercolor. Or at least a reference from this collection in watercolor. And I wanted to make sure you guys had it in acrylic. On the mic is John.
Hello.
He always hangs out with us because, frankly, I can't turn on the cameras. I see a lot of people here. We've been in the chat early. Right now in the chat, it's really funny because it's John and I chatting at the same time. I'm on my iPad talking to y'all, and he's on his iPad talking to y'all.
Well, no, I'm logged into the
yeah, but it's
console.
still all the Art Sherpa with the check. So
yeah,
super funny. Super funny, super crazy. I expect this to be the 2 hoot range. In the traceable, you'll notice, and I just want to point this out real quick. You guys, I sent out a newsletter, so hopefully you guys are getting the newsletter, and that went out to every single patron that's in our patron program. So hopefully you guys got it. If you're having troubles with the newsletter, let us know, though we do believe the new website's going to help with that quite a lot.
Many
switch to a different system. So you can print out the traceable as a horizontal on just a piece of paper, and it'll orient quite beautifully to your surface. You only add a little bit of grass, and she's in that scale. I kind of wanted to do her bigger. Mm-hmm. So, John, do you remember what you zoomed in, what percentage you zoomed in to get this?
Oh, so
what scale it was?
Okay, that actually is when I printed the traceable vertically instead of horizontally.
Oh, okay, so that's all you did? You just printed it vertically?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what he did there to make her a little bit bigger. What I would say is, I don't know if you're aware of this, but generally on your print settings, you can go in there and select how the image orients and also how large it is on the paper. It gives you a chance to kind of rescale things bigger or smaller, and a kind of a nice, easy way, as long as it's, you know, sort of in the size range for you to scale up or down. Oh my gosh, it's just good to see you guys tonight. I am ready to paint and relax, and I've got my cup of cider, my hot apple cider, because it's the season. So excited when it's apple cider season, and I got my little
cider season.
I'll show you this. This is my creature cup. I got this for my birthday for myself. I'm very fond of it, and as you drink, a little creature is revealed. So I'm going to be seeing my little unicorn come out of the water. I'll show you as we go. It's nice to have cider.
We have quite a nice crowd of patrons tonight.
I'm so glad to see everybody. Super duper duper glad. I'm going to put out some Diox Purple because I know that's coming up. I'm going to be using the Sennelier acrylic paint. Love everything about this paint. Not so much the caps.
You know what I love about that?
But I got some Holbein quinacridone magenta because that's what's here.
Okay. That's what's here. But you know what I'm going to sneak to my patrons that I love about the Sennelier paint?
Yeah.
Is that we will be offering it in our store on e-commerce more and more soon.
Really? Mm-hmm. That's pretty exciting.
It's very exciting.
I'll go over all the colors as I put them out. I'm going to start out with the sunset. We've got a really spectacular sunset that we're going to be doing. And then we will put her on via the traceable. You can freehand her in. I did simplify her face, and that is because sometimes I make adjustments to things to just make it easier for you guys. You know, I look at a thing and I go, you know, nobody needs to be aggravated that much. Oh, that's Prussian blue. I don't want to put that out. It always looks like phthalo blue to me in the tube, and then I grab it, and then it's not the color I'm looking for. I'll put out some green.
Congratulations. Congratulations, Sherpa. I'm spending your check to go get myself a printer.
They should treat me better.
Thank you.
They should treat me a lot better.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
I've been so patrons.
You put that into context, but they should treat me better.
Okay, so patrons, that was what you just saw us get was the monetary remuneration for a partnership. Now, we are very happily remunerated through this partnership because we perform very admirably on the financial end of things.
Yes, because we insist on good stuff.
But
Make sure our community gets good stuff, and then we don't compromise. That's how that works.
But we didn't feel like they were doing as good a job of supporting us in the social media and front end of things. So we don't really want to call them out for it, but that's why you're seeing us respond like, well, dang. If this is a no denial proof that we're
They certainly are not treating us like we are right now.
Sure.
Ah, I just lost my hairdryer. See, the universe just punished me. I'm going to put my yellow here, and I will go over every color, guys. I'm going to go over every single color. Every single color.
I'm going to have to shrink the Sherpa.
Shrink me?
Because you're all over the paint.
And by the way, the palette is not well on the surface. It's like, we gotta, I went the whole palette. There's like a bunch here.
Why is that doing that thing?
I don't know. I do it.
Okay. Oh, hold on.
While you're fixing that, I'm going to go over this. And you guys treat me great, and really that's what we need. Sometimes, you know, doesn't matter. Blessings are rolling in, and I'm very, very grateful.
We are super grateful that you guys are as awesome as you are.
What I am is grateful for you guys.
Yes.
So what I have here, this is technically CAD red light, but in many, many paint companies, it would almost be a CAD orange or a pyro orange. This is CAD yellow medium. This is quinacridone magenta. This is dioxazine purple. This is CAD red medium. This is phthalo blue, and this is phthalo green. I've got some titanium white here, and I have zinc white here. I like to put zinc white into the mix whenever I'm pretty sure I'm going to be doing some atmospheric effects or any of that. I've got a little towel in my lap, and I'm going to be taking one of my big ultimate varnish brushes.
Oh,
yeah?
I wanted to also tell the patrons, in the new website design, we have it structured so there is a patron store. So
you guys get special stuff.
You guys do get access to special stuff. Now, a lot of times that's going to be in the form of limited availability product. Like we only got a handful of these that are on
maybe special prices.
Well, certainly special prices. Oftentimes they are not available. They won't be available yet. Like we're getting pre-release product for you guys specifically to get feedback on what you guys think. So this is kind of some cool patron stuff.
He's been working all day. He's really excited about it. So I'm going to take this big brush. I really like this brush. You can take any big brush that you like. You could do it with a brush like this. I just want something where I can paint out, kind of transition through my colors, and have a really soft effect. So I'm going to load out with some yellow first. I mean white first, and then get a titch of yellow into it. So it's got that kind of nice ducky feel. And I'm going to come over into the corner and brush out a little bit of this yellow. And you can kind of see that it's a very loose brushing. My pressure is pretty light, but the brush is mildly damp. I couldn't really squeeze a drop of water out of it. And that's still because of the way these mops are. That still gives me quite a nice flow out. Now I'm going to take a little more yellow, and I'll brush it into this right here, and creating a little glow. Glowing, glowing, glowing. Glowing, glowing, glowing. Nice glowing sunset is always good. So just adding that color slowly. It's looking pretty good. I want to get the white out of my brush, so I'm going to wash it out kind of vigorously. I could change brushes, but I recognize you may not have 25 of these blenders like I do. So I will change slowly. I'm going to get a little bit of my CAD red light, which would be like a CAD orange, and I'm going to transition between these two colors like this. And you can kind of see that there's some little brushability there. I'll come across. Going much oranger there down at the corner.
Help me.
Now I'm going to take this. I'm going to wipe it into my towel, kind of dust off the extra pigment. And then come here where these two colors are transitioning and see if I can't get them to do a nice little blend there. You can see I'll kind of swirl the brush, and it, little things to sort of blend wet into wet onto the canvas. Sometimes I'll turn it a little bit sideways, and I'm just trying to create a soft transition in my sky. I don't have to paint with oils to get that, and sometimes it's nice to have that little bit of effect. I might even pull some like CAD red into that, just a few places, just kind of start talking about it. I'm going to do a nicer sky than actually the reference had, just because, we can. Now, if when you're going, you're not getting the blend that you want, what you can always do is come by with any soft, dry brush.
Mm-hmm.
And when you come through and you do that, that's going to give you that airbrushed effect. Yeah, that almost airbrushed all that.
Mm-hmm. All softly.
Mm-hmm. It's really quite an extraordinary technique. And then I'm going to wipe out that extra pigment because I don't want it. I want the brush to stay soft. So what I do is I barely get the brush wet, barely get the pigment off and kind of wipe it out. You can even dry these with a hairdryer if you need to. It's kind of interesting. Now, if I go in to my Quinn and a little bit of white in my Quinn.
We have a lot of folks with us tonight.
I'm excited. The Quinn is what's going to give us a nice transition between the blue purple and the orange reds. Quinn is what does that.
Quinn.
The Quinn magenta. Quinn red would do a nice job here too.
That's a superhero name.
It is. I think it actually
Quinn
technically
Magenta.
is. Maybe not Quinn magenta, but because Harley Quinn.
Yeah, I know.
Anti-hero anyways. Yeah. But you're going to make some DC comment, aren't you? You're going to do it. You want to. I can hear your brain gearing over.
Oh my gosh. DC does a fine enough job humiliating themselves. They don't need my help.
I knew.
I got to kick them on the way down. It's like,
Oh, you, sir. And come back with a little bit of this orange sherbet. And when I pull it into this color, you can see it just creates a glow. So much fun to do. Get that in there. Just a basis, just a start. Layer one, ready layer one. I like to do that. All right, making sure the pigment is out of my little blendy brushes. And I don't know where they went. I had a whole bunch of brushes and I put them somewhere after I washed them. Who knows where they are? I don't know. They're gone in the house.
Somewhere in the dirty paintbrush.
Somewhere. It's somewhere. I just don't know where. It is somewhere. I just don't know where. So everyone's doing, I got to keep painting. I want to talk to everybody, but I got to get this first layer in. The first layer is kind of like a go quick layer. And I'm going to take a little of my phthalo blue and I will use, interestingly enough, my zinc white. And the reason I'm using my zinc white is I don't want to lift the blue too much. I want it to register as blue. You know how phthalo blue can sometimes be a little dark. I'm going to come through here. That first layer, I'm going to wipe out the brush on my towel. Wipey. I may even get some more white on here. And I'm going to just come here and blend these two a little bit. And it's gotta get careful with it. That's the transition that's just super challenging to do. It's the one we fight through.
And you can really quickly overwork that and turn it gray, can't you?
Very quickly overwork it and turn it gray.
Now,
I'm just circling and trying to dust it through.
What does overworking mean, though?
Well, in this particular sense, it'd be to go over the same area again and again, blending on the canvas, and then having too many of the complementaries getting pulled together. And then what happens is that it goes gray. And you will get some of those grays in the sky, but you should have a fairly distinctive transitional space.
So brush strokes are good.
Yeah, and you've got to just be careful. But luckily, we have two spots on the sky that we're doing. It's two kind of go-throughs. This is a harder line than I would like.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take another clean brush. Take that hard line away. Just don't want it to be a hard line. I want a dramatic sky. It's why I picked this image. So this is the one, this is that transition for new artists that just makes them crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And all that's happening, guys, is it's not that you can't paint sky. It's just that there's sort of a complement system coming through here, and the red, yellow, blue elements of that make brown.
Gotcha.
So how do you make that transition? And you know what's interesting? When you look up at the sky and you look at a sky that goes, say, blue-orange, it does have some interesting little color transitions through its process. It truly does. Now I'm going to come in here. The sky is quite dark up top. I'm going to take a little purple and blue, and again, the zinc. Make sure we've got a nice dark upper sky. You know, stuff to put stars in.
Oh, yeah.
It was great since we have these wonderful clouds and everything that we're doing. I still have dropped my hair dryer.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, earlier. Into the nether spaces. It's that weird space between the table and the giant setup. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. All right, doing pretty good here. I can always come right into the Quinn, and that does always help. A bit, again, of a stripe, stripe, stripe. That's the battle. Stripe, stripe, stripe. Stripe, stripe, stripe. Stripe, 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 stripe. Just looking for some soft brushes that are free. Soft brushes. They're free. Oh, this is a nice angle brush will work. Oh, thank you, babe. I'll come through with my angle brush. And again, what makes this work is this brush is dry. That's why it's working. It's pretty soft. It's got nice flagged edges. And that's going to let me, you know, come in here and kind of really soften it up. Oh, thank you for the light, babe. I know that wasn't for me, the camera, but I really appreciate it.
Give you a little bit of help?
It did. You can see as we do that, that blending always kind of gives an improvement to the situation. Now, we still have line and kind of a purple space, and you know, we've got some great yellow, we've got some bright oranges, we've got some blues. That's as far as I feel like we should try to take it here. I feel like we should dry it and then take it the rest of the way through the next few layers. Jennifer Bowman has her kitty on her lap, and Barbara Ray is here. Hi, how is everybody doing today? Let's see where the unicorn is in the sippy sippy.
Ooh.
Any cute? Want to see him again? His little face picking up saying, "Good drink, cider." So I really want to change what's happening here. But to do that from here, I'm going to dry it.
Okay.
Don't want this to get in the hairdryer, so I'm actually going to move that to the side this time.
All right. So, thank you guys for coming and joining us. We really do appreciate having all y'all here tonight. So, it's very nice to see everyone, and we really appreciate your help and making it possible for us to do these wonderful things. You guys are amazing, so thank you. And wow, there's a pretty full night of us just all getting to hang out and do some private Sherpa painting stuff.
Woo! Guess what I just dropped? Traceable. I know. I'm having a moment.
Let's see here.
I'm going to change out my water. Whenever you're doing skies that do a primary transition, and the reason this would be a primary transition, that's not it. It's the big one. Just, you can put it there. I won't blow it away again. Thank you. The reason you want to change your water out is that because the phthalo blue has a bit of a green cast to it, and then you've got red and blue here, you've got your, you know, your yellow, your red, your blue, you know you're going to be fighting these hard transitions. You just know you are, or you just found out that you are because you're painting along with me right now. I'm going to come back with a little of my zinc white, and I'm going to grab a bit of my pink. We're going to come right here with the zinc white and a bit of the pink. Sometimes it's nice to change directions. But this is how we can start getting some of those little softy pink transitionals. There we go. The zinc really keeps it transparent enough where we don't lose everything that's underneath. We can begin to lighten that up. And you can bring it in a little bit stronger. There's a little more zinc white in that moment. You can see I changed that direction. I don't know if my stuff's all in the way for John to catch that angle shot. Oh, amazing. But you can see it's about coming here, like pulling that like that, changing those directions. That's how we're hiding those brush strokes. Now this would technically be a glaze.
Interesting.
Right? We're technically glazing because the transparency in the zinc, but it is helping us not have blue, boom, boom. It is. And that's what we're trying to, get past. I can even get some darker magenta into here because magenta in and of itself is a pretty transparent color. Just brushing along. And even as I come here, I can get really dramatic with the magenta. And you can see how it's just glazing, which is really nice. But that bright pink is happening there.
Mm-hmm.
It's really great. Rinsing out, wiping out. We don't want the extra. We don't want extra on there at all. I'm going to take a little of my orange and some of my yellow. And again, get that bright pop of color. Look at that, nice.
Wow.
Now, this I'll bring up a little bit now. Kind of speaking to an interesting sky. This is where the brush is at. And I'm just dusting and pulling. I'm letting these edges be uneven. And because the blue is not there anymore to contend with, I can now make that transition.
Mm.
And you can see because of also the transparent nature of these colors, definitely go more into the orange right here. That's where you get some of that drama. Get into my magenta. The cad red light and the magenta make the most gorgeous colors together. They just love being in the same space. And they're dusting. That just sort of like palm motion. How light that pressure is. Working that spot, softening it. I like doing that, John.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I
like watching you doing it.
I don't know. I like painting, man. It helps me deal with stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can come and be in the studio and come from a pretty rough place mentally.
Mm-hmm.
And then get in here and feel so much better. Adding a little yellow through there. Oh, man, that's dramatic now,
that
isn't
looks
it?
so good.
So dramatic.
What size palette are you working on, Sarah? Would
9
like to
by
know.
12 Strathmore peel paper palette from Michael's 50% off coupon. Actually, this one might be from Amazon.
Nice.
But yeah, it's the yellow cover palette paper, 40 sheets, 9 by 12, 41 pound paper. Do not spend a lot of money on it. I mean, I'm not trying to tell you how to spend your money. I'm just saying, I find sometimes what happens is if you're really new to painting, how would you know how much stuff should cost? And so you get on Amazon and end up kind of overpaying for some art materials. and I want you guys to get the most bang for your buck. Add a little bit of white. That was titanium white, and that was to get that. See how much stronger that white is in all the colors?
Mm-hmm.
Titanium white is a much stronger white. Its pigmentation is so high. When I dip in the water, just so you guys know, you might not know, I come right in and I'm just like, I barely touch the edge of the bristles into the water. Barely. Just barely. These are all still wet, so when I come in here with these colors, you can see what happened. Now we don't just have 3 bands. We have this sort of radiating fun happening.
That really is cool.
I like it very, very much. Very, very, very much. White and yellow. 2 layers. Wonderful coverage. This isn't particularly expensive. These are 9 by 12. These are from Michael's little artist loft canvases.
Yeah.
They're not pricey, and you can see that they definitely don't need to be. Some of what I do here too is like making sure that these brush strokes are kind of feathered out, helping them be a little visually dispersed, soft even. I'm going to soften it. Click, 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 click. And come back with a little orange. Into that, get a little bit of an interesting transitional sherbet. And by bringing that interesting transitional sherbet back to, and kind of pulling it down in some space, again, I'm preventing the banding, which is what I want to do. I want to prevent the banding. I'm super happy with that. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So up here, we have a little bit of drama to get into, just a little bit. Just some, my friend. I'll take a little bit of my magenta and maybe my Doc's purple. They're fun together. Darkening the sky up.
The glazing really is a cool technique.
Well, it lets you do some things with the acrylics that maybe are traditionally a little bit harder in the way acrylics transition or blend. And then it also lets you kind of bend color theory to your will. Bend color theory to your will. I like that quite a lot.
Yeah.
And just in person, it's just so very colorful. So it's just more interesting than maybe your traditional night sky. Now we're going to do some clouds. Wonderful cloud cover. I think there's two ways I could go. I could get into my domed blenders, or I can get into my bristles. And I think I'm going to get into my bristles.
Yeah.
So this is a Cambridge hog bristle brush. It's a blend of synthetic and hog filaments. Now there are other companies that have those. That said, they're kind of hard to find. I find Silverbrush is a great location for it. That's where it comes from. My favorite one. I haven't found a lot of good secondary alternatives yet. But it's hog and synthetic. You could just do hog though.
Yeah.
If you can't find a blend of hog and synthetic, you can just do hog. I'm going to go ahead and get some pink. Go ahead and get a little of the white into it. And let's talk a bit about some of these little clouds that could be happening here. You know, if when you're out driving,
Yeah.
at stoplights, when it's of no danger to you or anyone else, it's a good idea to every once in a while kind of look at the clouds and notice the contour edge. That's the outer line of the objects.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of pay attention to how they're formed. Like, how does that happen? How does the cloud happen? Right?
Yeah.
because sometimes we tend to think of that like little round puff, 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 but that's a symbol of a cloud. That is not a memory of a cloud,
Yeah.
right? So what's happening is your brain's giving you a representative symbol and not bothering to go back into your memory and pull up a good inner eye rendition of cloud. So what you've got to do is train it to start pulling back up, things as you go. Get a little bit of the red and orange together, of clouds and go, hey, show me cloud, but show me actual cloud. Just little circular motions. This stuff is still pretty wet, but I'm really almost dry brushing. I'm just trying to remember the shapes of clouds, which are very irregular. And it's really all through this transitional space between the yellow and the purple sky that we're seeing these little cloud endeavors. That was the other way that some transitions were made between this very dark night sky and the end of that sunset was that cloud cover.
Ah.
Yes, I'm just coming through here and I'm adding again another diffusing layer. See how that's diffusing it?
Yes.
We're adding another diffusing layer by creating a little sense of cloud effect. Magenta, just kind of, but I'm not just making little round circles. They're irregular shapes. Be irregular. Don't be irregular. Be irregular. I want some yellow. Kind of coming back in. They're just going. I'm not worried about the moon yet or the figure. I'm really putting a lot of this drama in the sky.
Yeah.
Come up here with some yellow. And some drama. And isn't the sky getting super dramatic now?
I love how it's coming in together.
Yeah, it's really pretty. And also, if you're just talking about finding a space with which to be mellow in, sky is it, man. Down to the brushing on the canvas. Oh, Jennifer Bowman says she's totally obsessed with taking pictures of clouds for references. BJ Garners, I've always lived on the West Coast, married a Texan, and it just crept into my vocabulary when I wasn't paying attention. Yeah, I get that. I can't imagine what that's like. Right, John?
Yeah.
Popping that yellow through those colors.
Very poppy colors today.
Well, and now it's just like, whoa.
It is very.
It's the kind of sunset that you would expect the scene to be happening with. Back here with some yellow. And I'm using those colors to, increase the drama. Drama on your canvas, not in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I have tons of drama in my life. It's nothing but drama 2020. 2021, no drama. It's so funny. I'm in Life Book 2021. And that's like this year-long program with Tamara Laporte. And I'm we pre-plan our classes. I'm going to be in January. And I've been looking back at Bev Doolittle. Do you remember Bev Doolittle, John? Mm-hmm. And so I've been looking back. She's a camouflage artist. She hides images within images. And I'm kind of playing with that idea of Life Book. And I'm like, so much drama on the canvas. And I'm like, well, 2020 better give me room to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm done now. It needs to be on my team here. I'm taking the darker yellow in to this space. And again, that is breaking up some of what's going on here. Breaking it up and letting it be something that we enjoy. Now, I think some grass and some stuff will come into that, but I feel like we're starting to make some little headway. I'm going to get some bright yellow in. That's really pounding, isn't it? That bright yellow over the soft ducky yellow that we mixed.
Super amazing.
Just the pure cad. That's why we pure cad. If you're ever like, why would artists paint with cadmium? How insane. So why?
It's so powerful.
Yeah. Working on a new set of primaries. I have every paint from Sunlayer and primary, and I'm like testing them. And I'm sure I'll have a new primary palette that I'll be like, this is the ultimate, but it really is fun. I feel pretty happy with that right there.
Yeah.
Let's look at that overhead. Sip. I think that's pretty dramatic. How dramatic is that? Oh, Sharon O'Brien, Doolittle fan. And you have prints of hers. I love Bev Doolittle. I was obsessed with her. Obsessed. I think she's one of the great Southwest artists that have ever lived. I can't believe we all don't still talk about her. I actually think she should have been bigger than Thomas Kincaid. I think she's just like, the mind of this woman blew my mind all the time. She's like an artist, if that makes sense. She's the artist that other artists go, whoa, how you do that, crazy lady? So amazing. If you've never seen her, Sharon spelled that correctly, Bev Doolittle, and you should check her out and look at her work. If you ever see one of her books out anywhere, to garage sale, anywhere, grab it. As an artist, you must have one. Sometimes they can get crazy priced on Amazon because she's so collected. People used to just rip pictures out of her picture books and frame them.
Yeah.
People were just insane for her. But if you've never seen it, familiarize yourself. It's amazing. I'm taking some inspiration from that. I think a little. Where I can. If I can, I'm going to try. Who knows? That's the goal at this stage. I'm going to put out a little fluid white.
Okay.
Just because that'll work so well with my Galaxy tool. We're going to be doing, I think, a kit for the 12 days of Christmas.
Yes, that is the plan.
And or holiday or whatever we're going to call it this year. It's still kind of undecided, probably that. And it's going to have the Galaxy set in it. So if you've been waiting to get one, you may want to wait for the kit.
If we can get stock, we're still waiting to get answer on that. But yes, provided stock is available.
They should.
We're hoping. So expectation being there.
Just putting a little random. You can use a toothpick if you don't have my dotting tool. Or a nail tool. Which, by the way, my daughter took one of these as her nail tool. She's like, it's really good, Mom. Yeah, it is good. Why we developed. Come here, and you're just making little dots. Little dots. Putting some stars close together, some a little further apart. So you get that nice sort of like, ooh, a little bit of a starry sky.
Yeah.
It's good to have big and small because as those of us who watch Kirksagast know, some of those stars are big and far away. I watch Kirksagast with the kids and they just love it so much. If you haven't seen that on YouTube, you should totally check that out. If you're into science and space and thought ideas, they are amazing and fun. I'm going to take a little bit of my white and I may even let a little yellow get into this. Just for the fantasy of it. And I'm going to come here and make this little crescent. It's okay that there's a little purple out there because moons tend to be impacted by what's around them. This is my number 4 round. I'm just making like a little backward crescent. I might need to finish that little circle around in my head and then paint it out because I think my moon got a little, look at it, it's like, let me fix that. Right. I need to look at this straight on. What's up? You gonna be right back? All right. I am going to take this overhead. So what I'm doing is my circle was just wonkety and I didn't love it. So I just wanted to complete it, and then what I'll do is I'll dry it, and then I'll paint back out the parts I don't want, and then I'll have a perfect crescent. Watch this. Please ignore the air. does come back with a little bit of the magenta purple mix. And we'll just start to kind of go, okay, well, we know. There we go. I'll just get my little crescent back. Sometimes it takes that. I'm telling you. So if I ever have trouble like that, that's one of the kind of fixes that I go for. And then I'll keep kind of painting that around. I'll blend that in. This is that domed brush I mentioned. Sometimes when you're trying to blend a transitional area in, it will probably take 2 layers. Oh, is he okay? Yeah. Oh, no. John's father is sick in the hospital with COVID. So.
And he called because he was so excited about how good he's feeling.
Which is such good news because it was really scary there for a while.
Yeah, he was feeling really shaken by things, but
better.
As he was talking to me, he had very high blood oxygen level and was
really good.
Even while he was talking and sitting up and walking around the room. So he was all very positive on everything there. So, yeah.
Well, and that's just where we're at now. That's our new reality, isn't it, John?
Mm-hmm.
Where, you've got family members in the hospital, but you've got to take the call. It's like, so glad my mom's been as healthy as she's been, and your mom's been as healthy as she's been.
Yeah.
My cousin works in adult care facilities, and I've been just so grateful. This is yellow and white that she stayed as healthy as she has. There we go. But she's always been a hand washer.
Mm-hmm.
And she already had her masks and everything ready to go because that was necessary for her job already. I think that's looking pretty good.
Yeah.
Watch me touch on this until then I do something crazy and it's wrong. Keep shading. Fluid paint. I'm glad he is okay, babe.
Yeah.
Well, with this illness, you just don't know. People get better and then boom, it turns.
Mm-hmm.
You can't take anything for granted with it. It doesn't do like you would expect it to do. How is that looking? I think that's pretty good.
I think that's really good.
Oh, thank you for the prayers and the well wishes. I really appreciate that. If you have family going through that, I extend that back to you. For any of us, I think there's so many of us who have family that are going through that. And let's be honest, even if you're blessed enough to not end up in the hospital, it's a nasty bit of kit. Mm-hmm. It is not fun, and it lays people low. It is not a fun illness. I am going to put this aside, dry this, beg John to warm my cider and give me fresh water.
All right. So, while she's doing that, I'll make sure that I say thank you guys for joining us and hanging out here and being part of what we're doing. We really appreciate it and all the wishes, and that's all good stuff. We really appreciate it. And when Cinema gets back, I will go warm up her ciders and we'll get that stuff going. In the meantime, I will say keep an eye on the store because we're going to be putting a lot of really cool stuff out there. And the reason why I'm telling you patrons, not because I'm trying to tell you to go buy stuff, but of course I do want you to go buy stuff. But the reason why I'm telling them to go keep an eye on our store is not just
I didn't know what you were telling them. I couldn't hear.
But
hairdryer.
It's because we're going to be selling some stuff at really good prices.
So, oh, okay.
Yeah, what I mean is that we're
fresh water, babe.
Well, I know. I was waiting for you to get back. Oh. Yeah, I couldn't go while you were hair drying because I had to talk to everybody.
That's true. He is right. There's going to be some cool stuff. Cool opportunities, cool stuff. Very excited about it. I'm very excited. Are they going to get early access to the kits before they go wide or? we'll try to give you guys early access to the kits, at least a day. Like a day. We have to just get confirmed because so how kits happen for us is I say all the things I wish were in the kit, and then we find out functionally what we can still source, what we can afford to put in the kit, because I want to put all the things in the kit. And so it's always an interesting journey. Oh, thank you, Allison Malorsa's prayers for everyone dealing with COVID. And if you're watching this years later, whatever illness, whatever flu, whatever cold, whatever you're going through medically, we hope that you are healthy and okay and getting the best possible outcome that you can have. It is not fun to be dealing with medical stuff. Now, I want this to cool down, right? It needs to be cool to the touch because we don't want the acrylic to be soft. I have taken this traceable and on the back, and I'll tell you exactly what I used. I have rubbed it with a white chalk pencil. So they have pencils, and where did it go? I was going to show it to you even and hold it up. There it is. So this is the General's chalk pencil. I rubbed the back of it like this all over very vigorously, hopefully coating it with a copious amount. Now you could use Serral paper, which is SARAL paper for transfers. I like yellow and white, the two from them that I like. But this is just how I get through that. I'm going to put that over, and I'm going to find a place that I want to put her, and I think I want enough room to finish off this pumpkin. So I'm going to put it right here, and that still gives her a nice off-centered sitting. I love painting kids. They're just a lot of fun to paint. And the reason I like to paint people sometimes facing away, not that it's the faces, it is that it lets it be, see where my unicorn is at? And now it is steaming. As cider should. As cider should. Oh, Linda Sue says she's volunteering to test things to make sure it's safe for the community and sending good vibes to Blue's family. I hope you're doing okay, Ken. I hope everything is all right. I am taping this down. I'm going to tape this down in a couple places because I don't want it to shift during the transfer process. I don't have the whole pumpkin there, but I'm not that concerned about it. If I did this correctly, when I trace over everything, it will transfer onto the surface, leaving an impression of my image that I want. And I will use, I think I'm going to use a red one. Let me sharpen it real quick with my favorite sharpener that you all now know about. Okay, so I'm going to just trace over every line. Just over every line. You want to press fairly hard, especially if you're doing the chalk method that I'm doing, just to make sure that the transfer is happening. Broke the tip of my pencil. I really like this hat. I'm wondering if next month for everybody, if you guys would like to do the little prints.
That might be really cool.
Yeah, I've got a really wonderful little Prince potential reference that I could convert really easily to that fairy tale. And it's just one of my favorite fairy tales. And I do a lot of girls. It's been a minute since I've done a boy.
Yeah.
And the little prince has a fennec fox with him. So it's very like from the series. And I just I don't know, it'd be just really gorgeous, I think, to do. Coming around the edge of this. I move the face more to a 3/4. So if you guys are struggling with faces or you want this to be every child, it's easier to do. But you can also just do the closer view that is in the reference. Am I boring?
No.
I wonder sometimes, like sometimes when I'm talking and I'm teaching, I'm like, man, I'm so boring. I'm so boring. It's the weirdest thing.
And so, were you prepared for the answer to be
yes? Yes, I actually am prepared for the answer to be yes.
I don't know.
I am.
You're all right.
No, I would work hard to not be boring. If the answer came back like, oh yeah, gosh, girl, I love you, but it's like watching cement dry, I would be like, okay, I got to work on that. I'll try to be more entertaining during the teaching process. This hand's going to probably be the hardest hand because it's at a weird angle.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see if we can fix it during the paint process. And really what it is that the fingers are bent and coming forward
Mm-hmm.
is all it is. And yet the thumb is bent like that. Just a weird angle. Really hope this is all transferring well.
Mm-hmm.
And we got this little pumpkin here. He's got quite a little face on him. I'm thinking of doing a thing with him, though, that's a little cooler than what's in the... Because the black face isn't that exciting to me.
Not
So
that exciting?
Not to me. So I'm thinking of doing like kind of like a supernatural power thing. Where he looks supernatural in his mouth and eyes. And has glow, like he's got power up.
Mm-hmm.
Could it be a mistake? It could. But am I going to do it? I think I am. Because this is Patron time and we get to do more fun things. We get to be more playful. Don't we?
Maybe.
Yes, we do. All right. Let's wish ourselves luck. Ooh, it's faint, but it's there.
It's there?
Barely. Over the yellow, it's not really there. Over the yellow, it's not really there. Not even a little bit. Over the yellow, is it there? Give me just 2 seconds. I'm going to have to... Whoa!
Yeah.
Talk about the faint. Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to use a tilt.
A tilt?
So I'm tilting.
A tilting?
Well, sometimes if you tilt, you can see the faint light line even over the yellow. And so where the fail of that was is the white is not dark enough over the yellow line. I think I see an eye here. I might see another eye here. Nope, probably not it, but it is now. And we're going to bring a little skirt here. All right, we're kind of like freehanding it back in, guys. Sorry, what I'm doing is trying to make sure that I have lines that I can kind of see.
Mm.
Lines that I can kind of see.
Yeah.
And sometimes you'll have to do that, and then I'll come here and... And then there's a little bit of a pumpkin that's sort of here. And we'll kind of go like that. I got like a little bit of a pumpkin like this. Maybe with a... There we go. So we've got some pumpkin. The hand is going to be ogreish.
Hmm.
The hand is going to be an ogreish moment. Oh my, I'm going to have to paint that in. That is just going to be hard to even draw out. So sometimes that'll happen.
Okay.
And, you know, if you've got sterile paper, I would definitely change colors. If you've got chalk, I would maybe chalk it out. If you weren't confident in your drawing, what I might do is kind of wipe it out and then come back with a different color chalk that you can see easier. I'm going to just know that, all right, the hand's there, and then the hand is bent here. So I'll have to just work out the hands from the place that they're bent. By hand. Fun that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fun that. And here I was thinking I was going to get all fancy with a pumpkin, and now I'm like, oh my gosh.
No?
Let's get a number. I've got a number 4 bright here. And I'm going to start blocking in my pumpkin. I'm going to take my red, and I want it to have a little bit of I want to brown it up a bit, so I'm adding green. I could put brown out, but I'm just going to add green. Because the orange, the red and green makes a brown. We had that whole video, remember?
Mm-hmm.
I make brown. That's how you get there. I'm going to just kind of paint that first layer of pumpkin in. Fine, I'm just going to freehand its face back in.
Freehand his face.
Sometimes the fight is not worth it. So the brush strokes are curving towards the right over here. When you're painting the pumpkins, it is important kind of the directionality of the brush strokes.
Yeah.
Because it implies the shape of the object. I am going to go ahead and take this down pretty fully, even though I know I'm coming back with grass.
Yeah.
And that's just to make sure that what is visually present looks complete, even past what I can see. All right, we're coming back with a ton of grass, so that won't be that big a deal, but it will help to have that be. Now, as I come out to the edge, I can even kind of go more into the orange because the light would have lightened it. And then I'm going to come here. This pumpkin is quite dark. Are you guys noticing how dark that pumpkin is?
Yeah.
So I'm mixing a lot more green in, getting a very dark color. See how dark that is? I can even get some blue into that, really darkening that up. Because that pumpkin is quite dark down low. Number 4 bright, I'm just painting in the underpainting of the objects. And then we'll freehand them in a little bit. I want to come under here. Let's bring that darker brown under here. That's going to give the object shape. That dark shadow under there is going to give the object shape. But I'm going to keep brushing in a curve, curving. As I approach the left side, my brush strokes curve to the left. And as I approach the right side, my brush strokes straighten in the middle and then curve to the left on the other side. Nice. Now, everything we do after this, when that's dry, it will have a nice surface with which to work from. It's a good result. And I can kind of come here and be like, I'm going to break those two up. Again, that's cad red and phthalo green making the brown. Didn't even go get a brown. Go ahead and grab your number 4 round. It is an okay time to put out your black paint. Are you okay, babe?
Sneezes?
I hear the sneezes.
I don't even know why, but sneezes happened.
I see my purple. I see my browns. I see my... There it is. And I drop it on the floor. Do you want me to get it? I don't want you to have to get it. The paint I need on the floor. I can get, it's just right there. I can get out and get it. They would just lose sight of my head. They don't need to see my head. They don't care about my head. I'm sorry about the sniffies. All right, let's put out some black. We'll put it out over here. And let's start to work in what is happening on her hat and the rest of her. I'm going to take my phthalo blue and my Mars black together. I'm going to mix them together because it's going to help some of my highlights and some of those things on her kind of come true. And I find that when I add the blue to the black, that it does a lot. To cool that color and really help it pop against this warm, dramatic background. I don't want to paint the band because that's going to be orange. I'm just painting in the hat. I haven't just painting the contour lines, just the shape of the hat. I haven't painted any of the wrinkles, any of the cool stuff yet. You know, that made that hat so much fun. I'm just painting. Just the part that's black. I'm going to come on this side. This side over here is in the light. So it is going to be a little different than the side that's more in shadow. This is the blue and the black. And even like under her hair and everything, it's quite dark. I'm going to bring it up a good bit so that I can pull the hair over it. Underneath the waistband and around the arms. It's going to be interesting trying to get in the hands. We're going to have a journey together, guys.
Yeah.
Michelle G says, OMG, cool. And that she wishes she had my positivity and cheerfulness. And April's like, there's a big difference between zen and boring. I'm going to take it. I am going to take it. It's hard. Like, I watch the show to make sure that things are pretty good. But I realize that some of what happens is that I like to listen to John. So I think
Listen
that
to me
skews my
what?
opinion. Talk. I just like to listen to you talk. I've always liked the sound of your voice. Very, very, very much. I always thought you had like amazing voice.
Well, thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having an amazing voice. I appreciate it so much. So even though we're going to do some stuff to create some ruffles and some different things, let's start here. We'll come right up to where the hand is going to be. Now we're going to have to do little fingers out there. Painting that quite dark. Now, as I come to the other side, I'm going to have to really transition a bit. I won't do that. I'm going to rinse out thoroughly. I don't want any of the blue for the next part. None of the blue for the next part, because I'm going to take the black and a little bit of the red, maybe even the orange. My black, and yeah, definitely the orange. And this side, I'll blend it into here. Will still be black, but it'll be that sort of like warmed brown.
Yeah.
And what's really happening here, let's exaggerate that, is that this bright light is impacting how the color looks to our eye. I'll come here and also do shoulder. Coming this way. I can kind of talk a little bit about this lighter brown black. And it's another good time to get your zinc white involved. I'm getting my zinc white involved.
I'm going to shrink you down.
Shrink me. Just make me tiny. I'm so tiny. Add a little bit there. I just want to show some reflections, some highlights in that fabric. These are subtle things. And then underneath the hat with that color. That's the part that's kind of in the sun. And then maybe right there at the tip. So still black, but just warmed. Just a smidge. Subtle things. Subtle. Let's take a little bit of our orange that we've already kind of toned down darker. It's still distinctly orange. Layer 1 for the headband. Doing pretty darn good. Now, our pumpkin, I'm going to get some of this orange right here. And it's okay that it's got some of this dark color in it. I'm going to come underneath. And we're going to start to talk about the brighter part of the pumpkin. I'm still just using my number 4 because it's in my hand and it's convenient. I just want to make sure that the dress is well layered over the object that it's on top of. So, easier to do now this way than later. I'm going to come in. I've got my blue and black. Grab my zinc white. You can even add a little more blue to it. And that's where the highlights are going to come from. The first of those little highlights that are happening. And can the camera pick it up? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm picking.
Okay. Sometimes on my monitor, I can't really always see.
Yeah, there's some very light subtlety here, but you can see it.
Okay. Yeah, on black fabric, when we're trying to talk about these types of things, sometimes you do want it to not be like so like completely overwhelming. Come in here and a little more zinc white. And so what we're doing is we're, adding some of these reflections to show the way the hat might wrinkle. You see the hat coming in?
Mm-hmm.
This one is a definitely good one to come along this edge here, and I'm going to sweep up a little bit into the hat. Good, looking good. Go more into the zinc white. And I'm going to come here and let's maybe talk a little bit about the little curls. Little bits of those reflections. And then where it has to really, really pop, touches. And that really shows that light shining on her.
Yeah.
Hopefully one got that quite well. Hopefully. And skin tones. So we're going to take a little bit of our yellow and we'll get it into our black brown mix.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe some of our magenta into it. And white. Come here. We start to get the arm in. And I may have to switch to a smaller brush. You probably do have to switch to a smaller brush. It's just that the point on this is so good, sometimes I can get away with it. But I think I should switch to a smaller brush. So I'm going to just get a little detail brush. And the skin tones here will be darker, and they'll be darker because of the lighting. Sometimes even fair skin tones will, because of shadows and because of stuff, be quite dark. Meaning that it's kind of almost nice that there's some almost orange undercast because there's so much orange light cast on her.
Mm-hmm.
that that's really present anyways. I'm grabbing a darker color and coming to this side of the arm. I want to come in and grab a little bit of my pink and maybe some white. I'm going to come into the sky here and try to make sure that I have that side of her kind of lit so you can see what it is. It's a partial exposure to her face. And then as you go back towards her hat, and you can see this brown was made with the cad red and the phthalo green. What color should her hair be? We could even do fantasy hair if you guys want.
That's interesting.
We could do any color hair. It doesn't even have to be like regular hair color. It could be something completely unexpected. I'm going to get a little yellow and white here too. You'll have to tell me what they vote in.
Let's see here. Too many choices.
Too many choices? Silver. She's a little girl. It's like, I need to paint the silver hair. I'm just mixing that kind of darker skin tone that we have in this, afternoon light.
Mm-hmm.
And then if ever I need to go back and trim anything, what I can do is I can come in on the black and kind of trim it out. Okay, so I've got Kimberly and Linda say silver, and Tina and Barbara say paint it like mine. And Callie says it calls for fantasy color. Even though she's like, and remember, guys, I have videos on how to do different hair color. All right, it looks like magenta and Doc's hair is kind of coming out by head, but you'll have to let me know where it finishes out, John.
All right.
Where we, as a community, have decided to go.
Green.
Doable. So I just went back and trimmed those areas on her arms and hands where I was like, man, that is not. So this hand, the hand, and you might want to get in on here close because this is going to be a whole thing, man.
We're pretty good in.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm going to come here. A good dark color that I can build up from. All right. So the hand is bent very deep, and what we have is like the knuckles and fingers coming down. So it is true that we have a pinky, but what's going on is that the fingers are bending over the dress. We're going to have to figure out how to do that sort of foreshortened. I would say this to me is really like challenging wise. I will say that the hand will probably be the most challenging part of it. Worth it though.
Yeah.
And the thumb is bent and curled in. So the first thing that I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to take my black and red and kind of get this deeper brown. And make sure that across here, we've got a nice shadow, you know, that we're talking about.
Mm.
Always even get the green involved, just wherever you need to. Darker values here. Because that's in shadow. Darker value right here. And then also kind of coming down there. This one's a little not as hard, even though it is still kind of a hard hand, because these are the bent hands.
Mm-hmm.
You've still got to pay attention to your joints and your knuckle positioning. And just know hands are frustrating for everybody at the get-go.
Yeah.
Everybody has moments with hands. Let's look at these real careful right now. These are not perfect right now. They're going to look real awesome when they're done, but it's a journey to get there. So don't feel like, man, everyone else has got it and I don't got it. It's just one of those things. Especially where you've got something like a folded thumb, where the thumb is folded here. I just came in with a little bit of black to capture that, right?
Hmm.
And come back with just a little bit of a dark color to help delineate on the fingers. I'm going to have to come back with a lighter color to start pulling these in. Now I'm going to pull in some magenta, definitely some yellow. A little more yellow. There we go. Oh, somebody's got to log off. Bye, April. Sorry, but it'll be here whenever you guys are ready to watch.
Yeah. Yes, and this will be available on your dashboard later to watch.
Yeah, immediately.
Yes.
There we go. Just keep going.
Mm-hmm.
With this kind of stuff, it's just erg and go.
It's just layers and layers and layers.
Well, it's just finding my way in because it still doesn't have quite that articulated space yet.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I've got to find a way to get it in there on something that's really tiny, and I don't have my detail glasses.
Do you need some detail glasses?
I will get through. I'm okay. I will get through. It's also just trying to find, can I get, these are very delicate little, I feel like maybe shouldn't have gone in for the detail and gone in for the overall.
I think you're doing pretty good there. Looking pretty nice.
This husband who loves you. It's going to take a minute.
Well, Yeah. We didn't expect we would go fast.
You always expect we'll go fast.
Meh. Some days.
Maybe a little green, just make sure it's brown. You know how you do.
Mm-hmm.
Brown going. So what we're trying to do is capture a highlight across where it would be
Yeah.
on the hand, and then get the shadows and stuff where they would be. A little bit of a touch of fingernails, and then I might move the shadow up a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so midway. So what I'm trying to do is capture the light to the knuckle, where it sort of bends down. I'll put the other light here, similar light color. On the outside of the arm.
Mm.
We may need to get back from it a bit because up on it like this, it's going to look crazy.
And it does, you can see the layers.
But we're getting there. Getting there. Just playing back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Putting some down. Making sure that we've got some shading that
Yeah.
gives us what we're looking for. Oof. Journey in, man.
Mm-hmm.
Journey in. Maybe a little more orange. I don't know. Over here. Certainly is quite dark on the right hand side, and that's
Yeah.
okay. Again, the lighting allows for it. So just making that brown, which is all my cad red and either my phthalo green or I'm trying to make sure I've got highlights and shadows where the elbows are bent. And I may try to put that back in. I don't think I quite nailed that. Highlight right there. A little bit more in shadow through here. And then to get the highlight going, little pink. Yellow. Okay. The highlight comes up over the elbow. And down. And then there's just a bit of a peak one right here. The pinky kind of has one. Getting down, trying to capture these fingers.
Mm.
As they're grabbing on. Make sure that I can see what I'm looking at. Yay. There we go. So at this moment, we're exaggerating, right? We exaggerate some of the highlights. We exaggerate some of what's happening. And then as we're working it, we can blend it out, but we've got to see it to exaggerate it.
Mm-hmm.
Blendy, blendy, blend. Quite a dark shadow. I'm just getting that dark value. I'm sorry, babe. Hand's
What
taking
for?
longer.
Oh, that's all right. We're just watching.
Just getting that. Getting it, getting it, getting it. Bit of pink. Hello. Pink. What?
Just you're going through your process of your painting.
Mm-hmm. Live.
We see you go through all the emotional states.
All of them. All the emotional states. The dark value on that one goes up maybe even farther than I took into account on this pinky.
Hmm.
Up there. A little bit more like that. Thumb is not in view. A little bit of white. Kind of indicating maybe like a little bit of a nail, maybe something, right?
Yeah.
Add a little bit of the yellow orange there. Perhaps some there as well. Just a little bit of the light reflecting on. Now let's look at it from a distance.
All right. Oh yeah, it's starting to come together quite nicely.
Man, nicely strong, but it's getting there. Don't talk crazy now.
Why not nicely?
Just look and you paint.
Mm.
And you look and you paint. And that's really all you can do. There was a simpler way to do this, and now I'm really
I'm
wishing
gonna
I'd done
zoom in
that.
again there.
The simpler way of doing it, I now really wish I had done. Because every time I touch it, it's not getting quite there. But I think overall,
I think it's getting there.
you always think I'm good. Oh, I'm no good. You're always like so on team. I love you. Thank you.
Well, I love you too.
That was that hidden drop.
Mm.
But we're almost there. So hair. Let's just make life easier. Let's start out with some purple. Here, let's go hair. I've added a little white to my doc's purple. Just so it's going to show up. Everything you see, you would paint just the same way. You just do it with the pink and purple range. Taking a little quin, a little purple,
Mm-hmm.
and starting to paint down. So with hair, I like to start those dark values first. And then build up the highlights that I know that I'm going to be seeing. Little white. I'm still just on my detail brush, guys. Take a little bit of my pad red and my doc's purple.
Mm-hmm.
Seems crazy. There is a method to the madness.
I think it seems reasonable.
Well, the hair that comes up towards the sunlight, even the hair that is in shadow, will still be warmed up somewhat. So whether we're doing fantasy hair or we're doing realistic hair, we've still got to kind of pay attention to those elements. And then on the ends, I think I'm going to make it pink. I'll just come into my magenta proper with a little bit of white, and I'll come into the ends and start to paint out the flow or curl of the hair. Curling. They kind of blend wet into wet, which is really lovely and helpful to the goal. Really helpful to the goal. Highlighting. Bring that down. Now on the outside edge of the hair here, I'm going to go ahead and go like magenta perhaps, and maybe even a little bit of yellow and a lot of white. So even though it's still pink, it's got kind of that highlighting happening.
Mm-hmm.
little highlight. I'm sorry, babe.
Why are you apologizing?
You're so quiet. I know when you're quiet, you're tired.
Oh, no.
Okay.
I'm okay. I'm just making sure I've got it zoomed in for everybody.
Oh, you're so amazing. Thank you. A bit of outside edge there, right into the CAD maybe.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of it. Bits of the hair can capture in the light.
I like the hair.
It's starting to be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
A little purple. Bring that in. And make a very light pink. With the fluid paint, just to help it flow off the brush. And then I'm going to do some detail work right here. Capturing just bits of highlight.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty one.
Mm-hmm. I really like it. Lots of people enjoying the sharpener.
What sharpener?
Pencil sharpener you bought the other day.
Oh gosh, it's so much fun to do the pencil sharpener. I love it. I got the cat one too. I wanted to get it before y'all bought it out. Just continuing to add little highlights of that pink as we go.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to make sure that we've got nice. Can we see it overhead?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, thank goodness.
There you go.
Sometimes when I have to look at her up close like that, it gives me like anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
It's good for everybody to see it, but I'm taking some just orange. Making sure that we've got some orange on the hat here. I may go ahead and I'm still on my detail brush. I'll bring some magenta back for shading. And then I'm going to take a little just yellow and maybe even some of this white. The white highlight. Guess what? We're going to have some of this right here. And that's because the sun would, or that strong sunset would hit her with some lighting.
Hmm.
So even though it's fantasy hair, it still would have that kind of backlighting, and you've still got to capture that.
Yeah.
For that to feel like that is what it's supposed to be. And you really can't, push it too far, in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Mama, you can't push it.
In your
Highlight
eye.
a little bit of that there. Just little touches here and there, just to capture where light had hit. All right, shall we pumpkin up, my friends?
I think so.
Okay, so back into a brush for pumpkin. I'm gonna get like a small, I think, I have somewhere a teeny tiny brush I really like to do pumpkins with. There it is. So this is a number 2 Cambridge, and I really like to paint pumpkins with it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna take my orange and my yellow. So, babe, tell me more about the website. I paint orange and yellow.
Well, what would you like to know about the website?
I don't know. I'm just trying to get you talking again to keep my energy up. And you talk about the website.
Well, I mean, like, I'm actually surprised at how quickly you're coming along with this, because it's like, I know it seems like it's a long time, but you've actually done quite a bit here as you've gone.
Oh, yeah. No, we get a lot done.
Like, these pumpkins are probably just going to fly in.
Oh, the pumpkins will fly in. Pumpkins always fly in.
And then, really, I think that's about it, isn't it?
Well, once the pumpkins are in,
Oh, yeah, and the bats.
there's some bats.
And a little bit of grass, and that's really about it. There's not... I mean, this is a big one.
Well,
I'm surprised.
yeah, but I'm really grateful to my community for supporting me. I take a little of my yellow white here and just make sure the edge of this has that kind of element there,
Yeah.
capturing those highlights. I want those to be as bright as they can be into my red and orange over here. And then there is sort of this
Oh.
and then here and then here. Just painting the little ribs and shapes of general pumpkins as we go.
Mm-hmm.
Little cad red, little kind of capturing some of that. Number 2 Cambridge. I just want a nice small brush that lets me play in this area
Mm-hmm.
and not feel, like I don't have the room to be here.
Yep.
I'm going to take my green and my red and make that fabulous brown. And just to be like clear, we're going to kind of get some of those ribs in.
Little ribby ribbies.
Little ribby ribbies. That's the first part of it. Get some ribs. Get your ribs, sir. Get your ribs. And then it's just finding the... I do like to kind of trim them so they're not as thick, but I like them there. The far side being
Mm-hmm.
a much darker overall color from, say, the side that is exposed to a lot of light. much like her arms, her dress, everything else
Yeah.
that is going on. The other place that you can really, really have a shadow kind of going, I'm going to take a little of my black and red together to get it,
All right.
is under her dress.
Oh, yeah.
You've got to make sure there's enough shadow under her.
Mm-hmm.
Anchor her to the pumpkin, otherwise she's just floating. You don't want her to float. I mean, maybe you do. I don't know. I don't know your plans for your painting. I'm not trying to infringe on you.
No.
Light should be focused to the left side, because that's where the light source is.
Valerie is very impressed by your brushes.
Oh, does she like them?
Yes.
I'm so glad.
I can understand why.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. We worked really hard at that.
Yes, we did.
We've, you know, it's so funny we say that, but what it was is, you know, sitting there and saying, hey, it has to be this quality. You know, it is what we have to do. This is not a place we can cut corners. And being willing to walk if necessary,
Mm-hmm.
you know, to make sure that those things happen for you guys. And then the whole time, always being willing to just go, nope, 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 nope. And then if anything crazy is ever suggested, to be like, no, no, no. I think my favorite thing that was ever pitched at me about the brushes was like, oh, well, they're like this because they're wearing down on people's canvases. And I'm like, no, because they're going to wear down on mine first. I paint more than anybody in my community. That's not how it works. Sorry. I think what I exactly said was that dog don't hunt. But we do constantly on it. And if there's ever a problem, I want you to know that we are on your side first and foremost. So I'm taking my cad yellow and a bit of my orange here, and I'm going to start to mix the highlights. Now, I do a lot of this work before I put in the face.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason for that is that, you know, it's easier to get the shading done now before you put in the features.
Yeah.
You know, once the features are in, it gets a lot more challenging. I'm just brushing here, and I'm using nice rough brush stroke. Not much here, just a little bit. A little bit of just straight up orange. You guys can see that, a little bit of straight up orange.
Yeah.
You know, here on this one, definitely, this pumpkin is the brightest. It's the brightest pumpkin of the bunch. And then just the lightest possible orange. Back into a bright orange for right here. Just the top of this guy. Really just the top. Not the whole thing, just the top. I'm going to let that have a dry for a second.
Okay.
Does her hair seem bright enough to everybody? Are we happy with the hair?
Mm-hmm.
Hair,
I think so.
black and red. Why did I not put out brown? I have no idea. It was just that kind of a day, guys. No, you own brown. Yeah, I know. Sometimes it's good to remember that you can, you don't have to, if you're ever missing a color, that you're not, as they say, stuck. Because it can be very easy sometimes to feel super stuck with things that are happening. Now, while this is all drying, I'm going to go ahead and add some grass. And I'll show you a neat thing. This is a grass comb. I've never ever witnessed one of these little bad boys. I'm going to take a little bit of my green and a titch of my red, and that's how I'm going to darken it. You know how normally I darken it with burnt sienna, right? But I'm not going to use burnt sienna. I'm just going to use my cad red. And I'm going to use my grass comb. An interesting brush. As you can see. And how it does that work.
Oh, yeah.
It does. It just does the work for me. When I was working on Grass Quest, the pre-design work for it, I tested all of the brushes that were supposedly for painting grass. You could use also a fan brush here as well. Or an angle. You can do the individual lines of grass. I would say the big thing is just to remember that grass is unruly. Very dark here. And it's going to get quite bright. Guess where? Over by the sun. Shocker.
The sun? The moon?
Well, there's the sun down here and the moon up there. This is a magic sky, okay? This is not a science sky. And we just work the dark grass first. I want it to feel like I won't go up too high yet on this pumpkin. I'll just kind of barely dust here because that's going to be lighter grass.
Yeah.
Get this kind of going first.
Little bits of grass here and there.
Little bits of grass here and there. I'm going to come get some of my yellow. And even over in the shadow, I'll add some highlights, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's dark, right? The red's in there. And so I'll catch a little bit on the highlights of the grass, but it's still pretty dark. We want this definitely to feel like it's in shadow. Dimensional grass comb, number half-inch filbert grass comb, ruby satin. If you've been really struggling with grass, that might be something that really helps you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you have to have a brush to do any technique. I think almost any technique is doable, but sometimes it's nice to have a little help. Now I'm going to take maybe my green and my blue together. I'm going to come here and I'll hair dry real quick to make sure we're good.
Okay. Make sure that's quiet. So yeah, just make sure you thoroughly dry your stuff between the layers so you don't have any, so you don't drag the colors of your paint from one to another. You know how it goes. Okay.
I really appreciate you guys understanding the late classes so much right now. So much. Okay, so we're going to make the little eye across here. in the green and the blue. I didn't want to light him with fire on the inside, really, because and he's got like the eye does the opposite right here. It's point here and then comes out there. It's very interesting. And the reason that I didn't is because I think it would be too like same, like orange on orange. But I had this idea. We're going to see if it works. Now, my advice is draw your teeth in.
Hold on.
I don't know what is up. I keep racing my head. Sorry, babe.
No, you're okay. I got you.
He can have an upward tooth. Maybe one. And this is a pretty dark, the green and the blue, right? It's pretty dark. We're going to put out a little, not only our fluid white, but we're going to put out a little zinc white again so that we can get the effect that we want. Do some Harry Potter style power-ups there. If you don't want it to be a jack-o'-lantern, you could just leave it be a pumpkin. Right?
Yep.
Nobody's going to come into your house and be like, no! And if they are, you send them my way and I'll tell them to stop it. Be like, hey, it's not your painting, knock it off. And put out a little more of my zinc. A little more fluid. We're almost done.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've got bats, I guess, still too. Let's get a little bit of the zinc into that. And then let's come here. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come on this side. Kind of give that little light, right? And on this other side, we're going to take a little bit of our yellow.
Yeah.
And some of our green. Definitely our zinc. And we're going to start to light all this with, instead of the traditional kind of like candlelight, that sort of like green glowing magic light. And sometimes you'll have to come right back in with a dark value because you got to create the glow. So it doesn't always have to be lit with, say, a traditional. I may have to put out more yellow. Traditional little candle. And blending in here as it gets further away from whatever the light source is.
I like that little
Tapping in the yellow.
Yeah.
And so if you remember in fire, how does fire work? Well, the further away the heat source is, uh, the lighter the color is, essentially, if you guys remember.
Mm.
So like if you're painting a traditional red fire, right, the kind that you would expect, the kind that you're probably super used to, you would have red and oranges being the furthest away from the fuel source. And the closer you get to the fuel source, the colors would get more and more yellow until eventually white. We're going to use a similar thought process here.
Okay.
I may need to dry it. I can be as dramatic as I want to be.
Okay. Gotta get that. Yeah, as she gets those little layers in there, they pop, 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 pop. They like that green. It does look very magical. Oh.
That kind of like implied crazy glow.
Mm-hmm.
Come here.
What did?
The three-dimensional kind of carving on the pumpkin. Let's make sure that right here gets more yellow. Everything okay?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it just flickered out for me.
Yeah, it's just because when I select different screens, it sometimes does that.
You guys see that glowing glow?
Mm-hmm.
A different type of glow. And then at the center of it, white. And green on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
It's just another way of doing it. You could also do blue. You could do a lot of colors that would work. Green is nice, not only because the grass is right there, but also because it's a complement to orange. There we go.
Yeah, I really like how that popped out.
Come back with some blue. And you have carved out an interesting jack-o'-lantern. Something a little different than what you normally see. Going forward on the greens, right? It's going to be a much brighter green as we go forward on our grass. Coming back, we will gradually get darker and darker because we're further away from that bright source of light. You can see it overhead. That would probably be really cool right about now. Kind of getting a sense of that.
Yeah, it really is looking cool.
Just fine little highlights. Fine
I
little
like
spaces.
the eyes.
I do too. I really like that. Was just a different, fun, unexpected way to go.
Mm-hmm.
Change it up. Take those principles and like flip it on its ear and be like, maybe it's, blue magic miasma glowing in there.
Mm-hmm.
In this world of fantasy everything. And we did have some bats, and I definitely am going to get into a detail brush for that.
Okay.
I'm going to get right here. I hope this was fun, guys. Thank you so much for the support to help us do the channel. Like, I don't know if you've noticed, but there's 7 days of art coming up starting November 1st, which, by the way, is going to be Linda Cooney's birthday. November 1st, and then going to the 7th, because frankly, from November 1st to the 7th, I just want to paint. I don't want to think about anything else. Or do anything else. We all know why. Just want to just relax and not be part of it. So we have 3 watercolor paintings and 4 amazing fantasy autumn. Let me tell you, that's no joke. Fantasy autumn paintings. So we'll go back to the traditional barns and trees and landscapes, after that. But it's the Grateful Art Week, and it'll be every day at 11 a.m. Not 11 a.m. 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Every day. Add a little bat here.
Mm-hmm.
Do his little dart, his little lawn dart shape, little downward arrow. And I could probably make this a lot easier for myself with fluid paint, but I don't have any over here. So all I'm doing is I'm just adding water to my black paint. Oh, can I tell you? Callie Beasley wants to know the name of that grass brush. Okay. And I'm pretty sure thebrushguys.com has these. I think it's a pretty awesome brush. It's one of my faves. I literally tested every brush. This was the one I really liked. And I did all the weird ones like, this nonsense. I did all of them. This is a 1/2 inch ruby satin filbert grass comb 2528S. This comes in many sizes. I even have it down in a 1/4 inch. By the way, I am happy with all of it, and it really does beautiful grass. Beautiful hair and everything. Fur too. Rocks the fur. Holy, like I said, you can do any technique with any brush. So if you're tight on budget, don't worry about that. But if you have resources, I would pick one up. It's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Myself a little curvy bat wing. Curvy bat wing. There we go. Go. There's one in the bat.
Nice.
He's another bat for way here. A little bat. Oh, small. Small bat. He's far away bat. Much closer bat. So scale. In painting, when you want an object to be far away, it is smaller and sometimes not as colorful. And if it's closer, it is bigger and more colorful. So if you're doing a bunch of little bat silhouettes, you would make further objects like similar shapes, but it's tiny, far away.
Yes.
But if you wanted to say this bat was closer, you just make it a little bit bigger. See how he appears bigger?
Yeah.
There you go. He's just a little bit bigger. He's just a little bit closer. There's her. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy with this.
They really turned out
Hand
nice.
drama aside. There we go. I'm pretty happy with this.
Yeah.
Happy. And I'm glad you guys had me push it into some fantasy hair. If you need blonde hair, you need any color hair, I have silver, red, blonde, brown, black, every kind of hair on the YouTube channel. You just it's in the Big Art Quest. And you just like Art Sherpa how to paint hair. And then there's also some Guy Tang. We even did Daenerys Stormborn's hair. If you really want to break down how blonde hair like that is painted, we did Daenerys's hair. We did Jon Snow. Jon Snow, if he'd been married for 20 years and put on a little baby weight.
It was kind of funny.
Jon Snow, look, I made a mess. I got
Oh, you're fine.
paint all over there. See, I've got some yellow on there.
Yes.
It's not set yet, so I can scrub it away.
Quite enjoying this.
See, I don't know if you knew you could do that, but if your paint isn't set yet, so what's underneath, you can scrub your mistake away. Scrub your mistake away. I very much like this, guys. This was a lot of fun. I'm going to get a nice light color, and we're going to sign this. And now you guys have even a fall painting that's like super exclusive to you. And oh, did we know if what I'll do is I'll put a poll in the group. I'm going to poll you guys. Do you want to do Jack and the Beanstalk, the Little Prince, and then there was another one that was like the third option, and I'll put that up and you guys vote that, and then we'll get to do that next all Patron live. We'll do another little fairy tale kind of one. I might even let you guys add select like options. It'd be fun to do. I bet a boys one, because we've done so many girls.
So many.
Not that but I love girls. I love girls. What do you guys think?
I think that turned out fantastic.
I think it came out really pretty too. The happy little painting with a happy little vibe to it. Peter and the Wolf. Thank you. That's a good one. So, all right, Little Prince. I love the Little Prince. Read those books when I was a kid. Didn't you, John? You know, Where the Wild Things Are is another good one. So there's some good ones out there. We'll put up some suggestions. I'll let you guys add, and then whatever the top pick is, we'll do a painting about that, a fairy tale painting.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for helping John and I
This
do
was
what we
really nice.
do.
I enjoyed this. We had a nice crowd of people. Everybody enjoyed watching.
Next week, when we go live every day, know that that's because of the support of you guys that we're able to do that. And so you can sit there and go like, I contributed to this moment in the world. Pat yourselves on the back. Be safe out there. Good to yourselves. Be good to each other. And I want to see you at an easel really soon.